Anyone is courageous enough to want to share something that they're passionate about, David? Oh, go ahead, Camila, while I make.
Are we changing question?
No, the same question.
Okay,
You're courageous enough to share something that you're passionate about, and you have to introduce yourself now and go to the motion.
Okay, my name is Camille Cohen. I am Jamaica. I am Jamaica because I can remember like second grade doing a composition. You're supposed to talk about your favorite food and things, and I stood up and I said, my favorite food is rice and peas and curry goat and macaroni and cheese and fried plantain. And I sat back down and everybody looked at me and, you eat goat?
Come over on Sunday.
And I was like, yes, it's very good. And they said, that's a pet. I always felt like an outcast because of that, and I stay with what I know at home and nothing else, so.
Nice and Stacy pet, huh?
It is, yeah. But anyhow, I would say as far as igniting people, sometimes for me, I love working with children or old people and, just helping out in that way, especially more so education. I guess I come from a house where both of my parents were educators, and so that's just very important to me. If I ever had an event at UM, sometimes my way is just asking everybody, and then I don't even think like trying to find a deeper, this is the great thing you're doing or whatever. Sometimes I just fool people. There's food, come, there'll be food, I'll feed you.
Go fast.
Yeah, something like that, or you just, if you saw, there's so many party flyers and things, I'm getting emails and you see flyers for party. If we had flyers and for advertisements and things for community service events like we do for parties, you would have more people. And if you keep telling people and make it sound like a party, like it's a big thing going on. Yes, big session, but just feeding people. You get food too, something like that where you just fool people to come in and you come together and have fun at the same time. You fool them into having fun in giving. That's how I feel. You ignite people.
So you're the party master. David.
Yes, thank you, David Muir. I am Jamaican.
I am Jamaica.
I am Jamaica. I'm also Jamaican. I am Jamaica because it's just who I am. I was born there. I grew up there. I cannot separate myself from Jamaica. I feel like I am Jamaica. I represent Jamaica in everything I do. It's funny. I want to say 100 things. I've been listening and just so moved by what I've heard. But to get to volunteering and how you can really make a difference, everyone in this room is in some way a leader. It doesn't matter if you're an extrovert or an introvert or what your personality is, but just by being here shows you're a leader. You, in turn, will influence people who are around you. And if you take that spirit and influence them to do good things, it not only will help them, but it will truly help you. I am fortunate enough to have, on a regular basis, people come to me and tell me how much something I've done in my past has influenced them and helped them to become a different person, hopefully a better person. And I found that from I was a very young person, I was involved. Again, motives weren't necessarily as pure as, oh, I really was trying to volunteer because I wanted to volunteer for whatever reason, but there may have been social networking or other motives behind that volunteer effort to begin with. But one thing I will say without question is that once you get into a pattern of volunteering, it becomes something that takes you over. You cannot stop. People will ask more of you. It will become a part of who you are and what you do. I literally get requests easily on a weekly basis to become involved in some other advisory board or some other mentoring group or something that comes out of, whether because I was a volunteer coach or I was a volunteer in whatever facet of life or whatever area, that I did something that touched someone else, inspired them to do something, and then in turn they recommended me to some other board, to some other thing that.
So let me ask you then, what is it, being an effective member or board member, what does that mean to you? If someone has a passion and an interest and they're going to get involved, what advice would you give to them to be an effective member or a board member of an organization?
The number one thing is to show up. It's the most disturbing thing to be a part of any group, board or otherwise, and have members that just don't show up. They're taking that membership for a resume or for some other purpose than to actually give. The number one thing is to show up. The next thing is, whenever you show up, whether you're Jamaican or of Jamaican descent, whatever reason brings you here today, represent who you are. A black person, a Caribbean person, a Jamaican person, to the full extent, because even though we don't really want to believe that we represent all, in this type of nation, you represent all. If you don't do a good job as a Jamaican, you don't do a good job as a woman, or as whatever you are, then you're making it more difficult for the person behind you. And if you do a great job, you're making it easier for the next person, and that's so important. It really is, because you're going to have people whispering in the background, you know, that person, whatever it is, woman, man, Jamaican, so on, is not reliable, and therefore their group becomes unreliable, and their group gets a bad name. But when you do an excellent job, like most of us here are making the effort to do, then you build that reputation that we have that one aim, that one destiny. That's really, you know, give all, give everything, and, you know, participate. Don't not show up, because that's really just not going to help out.
Thank you, David. Any other advice from the panelists?
Well, I wanted to just touch on, we spoke about how we wanted to talk about how we can get other people involved, those who aren't as necessarily as excited as we are about volunteering. And I think the most important thing is to communicate the case studies, that, because just growing up, well, that is what I did in school. Everything in business school was a case study. Every single thing was to say, this is what they did, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. If I can give you a story of, this is who I volunteered with, and this is what it led to. I mean, I'll give an example. I met Mike. How did I meet Mike? Well, I was asked by Marlon to be the co-chair for the Jamaica Youth Forum. I got my wife to design the flyers. We needed to hand out flyers. We got an email from the consulate saying that Bruce Golden is going to be here for a town hall meeting at Nova. So fine, we need to get to this town hall, we're going to give out flyers. Mike got up during the question and answer session, mentioned that he lives between Dubai, Miami, and New Delhi. And of course, everybody wants to get his business card. I went and just decided I had to give flyers to everybody. As soon as I handed a flyer to Mike, Mike is like, oh wow, what is this event? I want to get in touch with you. You're supporting the community. I want to support that. Here's my cell number. Give me your cell number. Call me after this. And I'm used to hearing, you know, big business people say, hey, call me. I'm used to
We have lunch.
Yeah, I called Mike at what, 9:15, and he said, all right, I'm about to leave, I'll call you back. So we said, all right, that's not going to happen. 30 minutes later, phone ring, and that was a Friday evening. We spoke for 45 minutes. And then he said, hey, well, I want to meet up with you on Sunday evening. I'm going to bring somebody for you to meet as well. And Sunday evening, we're in Aventura at Starbucks, meeting up in the evening, and he brought somebody for us to network with. I know we've been meeting every week and talking. Robert's been to the house, and we're going forward. And that was exclusively because I handed a Jamaica Youth Forum flyer to Mike. That was the only reason why I've been able to connect with
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike, for doing that. He showed up.
He said, David, I want to be on the panel. I want to support whatever. I'll do what it takes. I'll make sure I come. And those are the kind of stories we need to spread. That's exactly the way it works. If I tell somebody that, I think people say, you know what, I want to volunteer. Just like when I talk about Upliftment Jamaica and say, yeah, I volunteered in this organization. I didn't know what they were doing. You need help in Florida? I want to help. I can do X, Y, and Z. And I'm not asking for money. I don't need anything. We'll handle it. What do you need help with? And the guy's like, oh, next time you're in New York, come to the office. I wanted to meet Russell Simmons. That's the kind of story you want to tell young people, and they're going to say, you know, I want to get involved in that organization and get them in.
You may not realize it, but Mullings, the Mulling brothers, represent a great asset to Jamaica. The real vibes, content. I've decided not even signing any paperwork to take their content into India and into the Middle East. We have the ability to put it in over 100 million cell phones. I think this is what we talk about, helping our...
So you're going to have Indians listening to
reggae. We need to help our less fortunate brothers.